Hello everyone, welcome back again to my channel. Today we are going to learn to do this beautiful beaded bag, and I'm going to use this faceted bead over here. This is faceted bead, 8mm faceted bead. That's what we are going to use for the base. I have my beading wire and my plier for cutting any loose thread. So we are going to start with 6 beading. And this is 6 bead I put on the line. So I'm going to cross the last one with the other end of the line and pull. So this is the first ring that we have made. Just easy, right? On this line, I'm going to add 5 beads. 5 beads. And I'm going to cross the other line into the 5th one. This is how it's looking like. So I'm going to use this line to go to the next bead. And on my left line, this one, I'm adding 4 beads. 4. I'm just crossing the other end into the bead. So here is how it's looking like. This line, I'm going to go through the next bead. I'm going through the next bead, and on my left line, I'm adding 4 beads. Like this. So we have 4 rings so far. This line, I'm going to go to the next one. And on my left line, I'm adding 4 beads. This stage is very important. You have to take your time and go through the bead one by one. So I'm going to use this line to go through the next bead again. And I'm adding 4 beads to this line. 4 beads. So over here, I'm going to go to the middle bead and the side bead. So on my left hand, the number of beads I'll add 3 to complete that circle, because we are making 6 in every circle. So this, I'm going through the next bead. And on my left line, I'm adding 4 beads. Now into the next bead, this one into the next bead. On my left line, I'm adding 4 beads to the left line. So here too, I'm going to go to the middle bead and the side bead. So I'm going to the middle bead first. And I go to the side bead. And the number of beads I'm going to add to my left line, 3 beads. 3. I'm going to go to the next bead. So my right line is going through the bead, and I'm adding the bead to the left line. This line, 4 beads. Over here too, I'm going to go through the middle and the side bead. And I'm going to add 3 beads to this line. Now into the next bead. This one, I'm adding 4 beads. So with this line, I'm going to go through the middle and the side bead. The middle first, then I'm going to go through the side bead. And on my left line, this one, 3 bead. With this line, I'm going to go to the next bead. And on this line, 4 bead. Middle, the line goes middle and the side bead. And the side bead. I'm adding 3 bead. I'll go through the next bead, this one to the next bead. This line, 4 bead. So with the line, I'm going to middle and the side. Middle bead first, then I go through the side bead. And the number of bead I'm going to add to the left line, this line, 3 bead. Over here too, I'm going to go through middle and the side bead. And I'm adding 3 bead. With the line, I'm going through the next bead. This line, 4 bead. I'm going to go through the middle and the side bead. And I'm going to add 3 bead to complete that circle. 3 bead to complete the circle. Now I'm going to go through the next bead. And I'm going to add 4 bead. I'm going to go through middle and the side bead. And I'm going to add 3 bead to this line. Over here, I'm going to go through middle and side bead again. So I'm going through the middle first, and a side bead. And I add 3 beads to the other line to complete that circle. Now into the next bead, four bead. I'm going to go through middle bead and the side bead. And here too, I'm adding 3 bead to the line. Middle and the side bead. And I'm adding 3 beads to this line. I'm going to go to the next bead, this one. And I'll add 4 bead. The middle and the side bead. Go to the middle first and the side bead. Then I add 3 bead. Now over here too, I'm going to go through the middle bead and the side bead. So I'm going through the middle one first and the side bead, and I'm going to add 3 bead over here, 3 bead. Next bead, I'm adding 4 bead over here, 4 bead. So into the middle bead and the side bead again. The number of bead I'm going to add here, 3 bead. Over here, so I'm going to go to the middle bead and a side bead. And I'm adding 3 bead. Into the next bead. Four bead. I'm going to go through middle bead and a side bead. Three bead. Middle bead and side bead. Three bead. go through the next 2 beads. This is how it's looking like. This is how the shape should look like. And I'm going to go through the next 2 beads and add 3 beads to complete that circle. 3 beads. So for the first stage, this is how it's looking like, and this is what you should have when you complete this stage. This is what you should have. This shape has 6 corners, so if you complete this stage, you have to make sure you also have the 6 corners. Let's continue weaving. So I'm going through the next bead over here, and I'm adding 4 beads. Middle bead and side bead. Three bead. Middle and side bead. And I'm adding 3 bead. So over here, I'm going to go through the next bead. Three bead. Now the middle bead and the side bead. Three bead. Middle and side bead. Three bead. Middle and side bead. This one, 3 bead. And I'm going to go to the next bead and now add 3 bead. Three bead. Like this. So I'm going to go through the next 2 bead. Next 2 bead. And now add 3 bead. Middle and side bead, those 2 bead over there. And now add 3 bead. So I'm going to the next bead and I'll be adding 4 bead. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and also share my videos to your friends. Into the next 2 bead. 3 bead. I'm going to go to the next 2 bead. And I'll be adding 3 bead over here. I'm going to the next 2 bead. And I'll add 3 bead. Into the next bead. Three bead. Next 2 bead. And I'll be adding 3 bead. 3 bead. Next 2 bead. Three bead. Into the next 2 bead. Three bead. I'm going to go to the next bead and I'll add 3 bead. 3 bead. I'm going to go through the next 2 bead. And now add 3 bead. Next 2 bead. Three bead. Next 2 bead. We are just preparing the base, the bottom of the bag. This is how you start before you can build on this one. So I'm going to the next 2 bead and I'll add 3 bead. So if you have this base wrong, you are not going to get the shape of that the bag. You have to follow the process 1, 2. So I'm going to go to the middle and the side bead and add 3 bead. Then we complete this circle. Trust the process and you'll get it. So over here I'm going to add 3 bead. This is what you should have when you complete the second stage. This is what you should have. You see this corner, we put 6 and the other one 6. It lined up. 6 is lined up, and we have 5, 5 bead, 5 bead on each corner. but these two are 6 bead. If you have it wrong, you are not going to get the shape of the bag. So you have to follow this process step by step in order for you to get it right. So we are just going to continue, and I'm going to introduce this pink bead. I'm going to use this pink bead to build on it. Next bead, 4 bead. And I'm going to go through the next 2 bead, next 2. And I'll be adding 3 bead. So on this stage we are just going to go around 6 beading. It says make sure your bead in every ring takes 6. So I'm adding 3 bead. This is how we are going to continue our weaving. Go to next 2. Three bead. Next 2 bead. Three bead. Next 2 bead. Three bead. Next 2 bead. Three bead. So over here, this is what we are going to do round the shape. We are going to go round and complete it. You just go around making sure your each ring take 6 bead. So I'm going through those 2 bead and I'm going to add 3 bead. It's the same weave throughout the entire weave. Okay, now I'm done with the first round. This is the first round I'm done with, and I'm here. I'm going to go through the middle bead and the side bead. And the number of bead I need to complete this circle, 3 bead. This is how it's looking like. This is the shape you should have. You see the shape that it takes. This is how we are going to continue. We weave on it. Going to start the second row. I'm going to go to the next bead. And I'm adding 4 bead. So the next 2 bead. Three bead. This is the second row. We are going to continue to weave the same thing until we build 11 rows. I'm going to the next bead and I'm adding 3 bead. I'm going to weave 11 rows. Next 2 bead. Three bead. So this is what we are going to do. We are going to continue, complete the circle, go around 11 rows. and come back. This is how it's looking like. This is the shape you should have. Exactly the shape. Just take your time and trust the process. So this is what I build on, and this is how far I weave. Okay, look at the shape. It's looking so beautiful already. That's the bottom, the shape. This white, I want to use white to complete the edges too. Just going to continue with the white faceted bead on the edge and continue to weave the same weave. So let me start for you to see so you can continue. I'm going to the next 2 beads with my line. And I add 4 beads. I'm going to go to the next 2 beads. Bead. Next 2 bead. I'm going to add 3 bead. The same width, the same count. So we are going to continue with the white all around the edges. Going through this bead. Three bead. This is how it's looking like. We are going to go round. I'm going to go around the edge, weave it round off camera, then I'll come back. Alright, I complete the edge. This is how it's looking like. Okay, now I'm going to introduce another new bead, this dark pink over here. Okay, to make a design. If you want to, because it's a little plain, I want to use this bead to make a little design on it, to tweak it a little bit into the holes so it can look more pretty. This is 25-pound beading wire I'm using over here, 25, not 50 pound. Okay, so I'm cutting my line and I'm going to go through. This is the line that I've cut, 25-pound beading wire. I'm going to go tie the knots with my line over here in between this bead. Then I'm using the other end to go through 1 or 2 beads before I clip it off, so, because I want to make sure it's secured. So I'm going through the bead, pull. You can go through a couple of beads before you cut it off, and just make sure it's well secured enough. So with this end, I'm going to go through, I'm going to go back this bead. Okay, now my line is here. I go through that bead and my line is on the opposite side. So I'm going to add my bead. This is my decorating bead, and I'm going to go through that bead over there. Go through this bead and pull so it can land into the hole. I'm just gonna add another bead onto the line. And I'm going through the other middle bead this way. I'm going to go this way and pull. add another bead. You can make your own design the way you want to design the bag. I'm going to go through this bead and pull, and I'm going to continue the same way on the same line. I'm going to go to the next bead. I'm going to do the same thing into the line. This is how it's looking like. I'm going to continue to make our own design. So over here I complete that line, and I'm going to continue into the white. So I'm going through the middle bead over here, and I'm going to do the same thing throughout the white bead. I'm going to continue all around the edge. That's what I'm going to continue to do. So repeat the same thing, the same pattern. It's making it look beautiful and rich. So this is how it's looking like. I'm going to continue around the edge, complete it, and come back. I'm doing it off camera. Okay, now I completed. This is how it's looking like, so beautiful. Okay, this is what we made first. I continue into the white, then I come across this line, I cross it on it, and I did the same thing at the back too. So this is how it's looking like. Very, very beautiful. Very beautiful. Look at the design. I'm going to show you how we are going to make the handle. So I'm starting with 4 beads on the line. Okay, the handle we are going to use 4 beading. So I'm crossing the line into the last bead, and I'm going to continue with the 4 until I get the length that I want. I'm going to continue. I'm dropping 1 on each end, then I'm going to cross both lines into the third one like this and pull down. So we have 2 boxes right now. This is how it's looking like. The same thing I repeat over here, 1 on each line, and I'm using the third bead to cross both ends into it and pull. And I'm going to continue the same way. This is how it's looking like. We got 3 boxes right now. I'm going to continue until I get my desired length. So I have the dark pink, and I'm just continuing with the light pink at the end, and I'm going to do it long. So here I want my line to turn to the right, so I'm adding all 3 beads on my left line, so I can turn my line to the right, to the side, and continue my weaving. I'm going to do 2 rows over here. I'm going to weave 2 rows. So I'm turning on to the side, and I'm adding all 3 beads to my left line. I'm going to go to the next bead, and I'll add 2 beads. 2 beads. So this is what I'm going to continue from here to the end of the row. I'm making 2 rows. Okay, now the second row too is complete. What I'm doing here, I'm putting my line on the side bead over here, and I'm going to add one bead to the line. Then on the other end, I'm going to pull it through the next edge bead right here. Pull it through the edge bead and pull both lines. Then your bead land on top of it and cross both ends of your line into another bead and pull. This is what you should have. Then this line, I'm going to go to the next bead, and the other line too, I'm going to use it to go through the next bead on the other side like this, and cross both ends of your line into a bead this way. You see, I pull my line through those two beads, and I'm crossing my line into another bead. This is how you are going to continue picking both sides until you're done. So my line is in both bead on the side, and I'm crossing my line again into a bead and pull. This is how we are going to continue picking every side bead and go through until we complete this row. Now it's done. We just have to put it together to make a handle. So I'm putting two ends together, both ends, putting it together. This is my line. I'm putting bead on the line, and I'm going to go through. Let me pull it together close so I can see. I'm going to go through this bead and the other bead and pull. And I'm going to use a bead to cross my line into it and pull. This is how it's looking like. You have to join it, the next two beads. You have to join it correctly. I'm going to this bead and the other bead, and I'm going to use the bead, cross my line into another bead and pull. So I'm going to go through these two beads. And pull. You pull and pull tight so everything can look nice and round. So this, I'm going to cross my line, both lines into it and pull tight, and then the rest of the line I'm just going to weave it back into the bead. Pull and pull tight. This is how it's looking like, so beautiful and round. So we just have to position how you want to put it. You position it on it. This is how I'm going to put it on the bag. I'm positioning it. Make sure it sits in the middle and nice. Then I'm going to go through this bead in the middle over here. And on both ends, I'm going to add one bead on both ends of my line. Please subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to subscribe. So I add one bead on my line, and I'm going to cross both ends into this bead. I'm crossing both ends into the same bead in the middle. Then I pull and pull tight. I'm going to use this line to go back into the side bead over here, the same one onto the top bead, and I'm going to cross this one into the middle bead, this bead right here. I'm crossing it to it. Just find a bead that you can pull your lines through it like that, and from here I'm just going to tie. I'm going to tie neat. I'm tying in between the bead. Don't tie on the bead, in between the bead. So I'm tying over here, in between. Tie nice and neat, and the rest of the line I'm going to weave it back into the bead. So over here too, or on the side, I'm going to pull my line through this bead, and I'm going to pull bead on both ends of the line, and I'm going to do it the same way we did the previous one. So I'm going to go through that, and on the other side too I'm going to do the same. I'm pulling both lines into this bead over here, this one. I'm going to cross my line into that bead, then I'll go back, tie them, and weave the rest of the line into the bead, and I'll do the same to the other side too. So I'm done pulling it through. I just have to tie, and I'll put the rest of the line to the bead. This is how the final look of the bag is looking like. Very beautiful, very pretty. Look at how it looks like. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Please turn on your notification for new video. Any video that I'll be uploading, you'll receive it. Thank you for spending this time with me.